For those who spend time on Reddit or other social media forums reading about or exploring the topic of the Civilization games, do you ever get the feeling that the science victory gets a little too much attention? Do you ever feel that it is lauded over as the pinnacle of civilization's achievements, the ability to accumulate absurd amounts of beakers in order to race to a science victory quickly? Maybe I'm alone. Who am I kidding? I know I'm not alone. Listen, there are many ways to win at Civ. Civ 7 has actually cut the number of win conditions, having removed religion and diplomacy as viable paths to victory, although they have added the economic win condition for the first time. Of all of the Civilization games, Civ 6 contains the most ways to win. That is, at least until Civ 7's expansions intrigue players enough into paying for new ones. Who knows how many they will invent. Civ 6 remains the most complete of the Civilization series in this regard. And in today's video, I want to take a look at and rank Civ 6's win conditions. Civ 6 includes a ton of Civ specificity, which steers most Civs towards one victory condition versus others. But I will maintain that certain victory conditions represent greater challenges over others. In this video, while stripping away any particular Civ's advantages or disadvantages in any one area, I will attempt to show which victory condition is the most satisfying and why. The answers may surprise you. Keep in mind that when I assert a particular win condition's worthiness over another, I do so while considering the challenge of the game when it is played on Deity level. I will also contend that there is actually one victory condition in Civ 6 that is, in fact, when played on Deity using default settings, actually impossible to achieve. Welcome to Civilization Stories, where we explore alternatives to history through the lens of the world's most addictive video game. First, let's take a look at Civ 6's easiest win condition to achieve, which is by definition the default win condition. And let's just get it out of the way early. Also, remember to not throw or otherwise damage your computer or your cell phone when you hate me after you hear my answer. But it's the science or space race victory. So why do I say that this is the easiest way to win on Deity level in Civ 6? First, if you've fallen too far behind in science, you've already quit your game. Players seeking victory rarely stick around when an opposing Civ has beat them so far to the punch. There is such an emphasis on science when it comes to remaining competitive in games that players tend to focus at least a modicum of their attention to their science generation and are more willing to let culture, faith, or their income take a slide for a while. It is also the reason that campuses are so highly prioritized by the AI. Moreover, the campus is the only district where building 2 gives players a eureka, steering players along a path where building multiple copies of the district leads to optimization along the tech tree. No other district rewards players for building multiple copies of it. In games played on Deity, players should expect one of the AI players, if not having won by some other win condition, to win via space by around turn 300 to 350 on standard speed. There is almost no way to prevent it. So if players have not won the game by some other means or through space, by then they have lost the game. Because it is related to time, space becomes the one always available path to victory on which to fall back. Have your original plans for a culture victory hit a snag? Is your path to world domination grinding to a stalemate? Fear not. Science remains a viable path. Spies running the disrupt rocketry operation and prioritizing building laser stations at this point in a game become your best friend. My last argument as to why science is the easiest of the win conditions is that built into the game, players are offered as many as 5 instant bonuses toward completing this win condition. They are Robert Goddard, Sergei Korolev, Werner von Braun, Carl Sagan, and Stephanie Kvolek. All of these great people are up for grabs to all players. Come at a point when players, with proper planning, should have saved up the necessary resources to procure their talents and provide direct benefit in the form of production on the space race projects to this specific win condition. No other win condition has this feature. Yes, other great people provide benefits specifically to other win conditions, but they are never direct, i.e., players still need to do something apart from retire the unit, or they never add progress that cannot regress, as in the case of great writers, artists, and musicians that do add to a civilization's overall culture, but does not progress, only adjusts, according to the overall tourism output of one's rivals. There, go ahead, hate on me. The second easiest of the win conditions is diplomacy, but it's more difficult than you think. Diplomacy is only easily achievable if one is focused on achieving it, but once that low bar has been crossed, it's not all that difficult to achieve the 20 diplomatic victory points necessary to win. Of course, a diplomatic win is tied to a civilization's ability to accumulate diplomatic favor. Once again, this isn't difficult to achieve. All you need to do is fight every instinct you have, i.e., be friendly with everybody. You don't need to have a large empire or accumulate lots of resources. There are trends in the World Congress that come up, and voting against your interest to vote with the majority can be useful in this regard, as players accumulate 1 victory point for every successful resolution they voted in favor of. Competition projects require no resources to complete, and winning an aid request grants 2 diplomatic victory points. The AI almost never builds, or at least dallies, on the Statue of Liberty in almost every game. Again, the Diplo victory is most people's, even the AI's, afterthought. The AI also squanders diplomatic favor at every opportunity. So if your focus is a diplomatic win, stockpiling enough favor to award yourself diplomatic victory points at the World Congress is easily achievable, even though the AI does prioritize stealing points at the World Congress from the diplomatic victory leader if the resolution is on the table. Stuck right in the middle is the domination victory. No shame here. Getting a domination victory, especially a total domination victory, i.e. capturing every city on the map, feels really good. It usually takes a bit longer, especially if you play on slower game speeds or a larger map, but the challenge is legit. A domination victory is usually the result of a strong early game and a solid snowball. There's no real tricks here. As far as I'm concerned, winning a domination victory usually involves a good all-around game. You'd think a singular focus on one's military would lead time and again to this victory, but those seeking a domination victory can hit roadblocks and stalemates if their economy can't keep up. Focusing too rigidly on a path designed around military movements can force economic stagnation and slow progress, including military progress. If your armies get bogged down long enough, it can lead to a rival swooping in and achieving a space victory before you are able to mount the assault necessary to vanquish them. Players who achieve success through domination, depending on which civ they're using, need to be savvy enough to know when to strike from a position of strength and then regroup when the objective is achieved. They then need to gauge how to hold onto this momentum, plug gaps, and keep growing until they are able to snowball out of control. Domination victory tends to be my jumping off point for Civ 6, the victory condition I'm first focused on when I load up a new game. Staying relevant militarily and having a large enough empire to boss others keeps players invested and keeps other victory conditions on the table. It's also why an encampment district, in most cases, should be the first district players build. But that's another video for another time. I will maintain, despite the objections I know are headed my way, that a religious victory is more difficult to achieve than a domination victory. One caveat here. After so many games played of Civ 6, I will say that many civilizations get to a point late in the game where they abandon the pursuit of a religious victory, and it's rare to lose to a rival in this way. The AI is lamentably bad at sealing the deal for this victory type, even if the opportunity to do so is within reach if they only just tried a little harder. It is also, theoretically, a win that the AI could and should chase with more vigor, because it would be one of the few ways for them to actually win. Let's be honest, no one has ever lost to the AI by domination. It just doesn't happen. That being said, the first reason that winning a religious victory is so difficult, more difficult than science or domination or diplomacy, is that in so many cases, players can be completely excluded from the option of winning by this means before turn 100, simply by being unable to found a religion. The AI loves going for a religion. Those bonuses are nice. On Deity, deciding to strike for a religion is something I do in 1 of every 10 games, maybe. The benefits of having the religion are often offset by the sacrifice necessary to ensure I have one. And especially so early in the game, I am often too preoccupied ensuring that my civilization will simply survive to worry about what kind of god they're worshipping. The second reason why a religious victory is more difficult isn't so obvious. Many Civ players feel that winning a religious victory involves nothing more than generating more faith than your opponents. That isn't easy to do. Unlike science, faith does not grow with population. The palace in the capital, which automatically generates culture and gold, also does not generate faith. Faith is the singular yield that players must deliberately secure. And besides a few bonus and luxury resources that generate a small amount of faith, players need to rely on their infrastructure, their policies, and their pantheon to do this. Obviously, having a wider empire with more holy sites means more faith generation, so there is some synergy with a domination mindset and winning a religious victory. Just ask Byzantium. But unlike when seizing control of a rival city where a garrison is left in place and players now control the city, religion in cities can flip almost without a player even noticing. It has happened to me many times where I have flipped the religion in a rival city to mine, then taken my army of apostles over to convert the cities of another rival, only to find that the cities I had recently converted have now flipped again back or to another religion. Rival civilizations, were they so inclined to halt your religious progress, could also easily declare war on your civilization and condemn your religious units as heretics, meaning that religious conversion is most effective against civilizations you are friendly with, thereby offsetting that synergy between conquest and religion. What complicates things even more is the fact that if you convert the cities of your rivals, it pisses them off. It gives them a casus belli against you and could even lead to war if you persist on converting their cities and don't have the troops to counter their military threat. This fact further complicates the pursuit. In short, religion can never thwart a military threat, but a military can easily thwart a religious threat, which is why, for me, the religious victory in Civ VI represents a greater challenge. I even often wonder, in multiplayer, how many people are ever winning via religion. Lastly, there's the culture victory. I don't doubt that there are some folks who have mastered this path, and the Monopolies and Corporations game mode flips this whole thing on its head, making culture victories almost too easy. And I have made my thoughts, disdain for the culture victory and just how needlessly difficult it is compared to other win conditions, well known in other videos. But for my money, achieving a culture win in Civ 6 compared to science, diplomacy, domination, and religion is the most difficult to achieve. All the others are based more on singular progress where there is no stepping back. Once you build the Mars colony, you're done. Once you win a diplomatic victory point, it's yours. Once you conquer a rival and take all of their cities, they're gone and their land belongs to you. I mean, more or less. But with culture, you earn a great work of art and place it in your city, and it keeps generating culture and tourism against your rival. But then they acquire a great work and the pendulum swings back. You build a national park, they build a wonder, and the pendulum of one's advantage keeps swinging. You take a step forward, then a step back. If you become strong and take a rival city with all of its great works, you produce more culture and more tourism, but against a wider empire. It's a step forward and 2 steps back. Finding that sweet spot between desirable, preserved terrain, infrastructure housing great works, long-standing wonders that have been generating tourism for a long time, strategically placed tile improvements that enhance tourism, plugged-in policy cards with tourism bonuses, trade routes, and friendly relations with all of your neighbors in a tight and well-contained empire is incredibly difficult to achieve on Deity, where the AI is throwing barbs and enemy units at you with impunity. However, there is one victory type that is even more difficult to achieve. Can you guess it? I'll give you a second. It's the score victory.
Fool you! I can't believe you fell for the oldest trick in the book! What a goof! What's with you, man? Come on!
Oh, come on. Don't look at me like that. Honestly, it's true. A game of Civ on standard speed lasts 500 turns. I have never even made it close to that. From all of my games of Civ since the founding of the Hall of Fame, I still do not have a single Score victory. I've had only 2 games go over 400 turns, and they were back in 2019. And I'm surprised I won them because on the occasions that I lose, it's usually well before turn 400. On Deity, the only way a score victory is achievable is if it's engineered. Anyway, sorry for the ruse. Well, sorry, not sorry.
This suit is black nut.
So there you go. Do you agree? Which victory condition do you think is the most difficult to achieve? Which do you find is the most satisfying? If you like this video, remember to click like and subscribe to the channel for more civilization stories. And remember to keep playing and making your own civilization stories, your own amazing path through history, and I'll see you next time.